All right. It looks completely different. It's using Qt, a new library that we're going to roll out more and more in Sandbox. So that's why it looks different. Evgeny has built this over the last, is it 1 year, even longer, pretty much from scratch, including all the property browsers and all the other stuff. But you're going to see more and more of this stuff in the rest of the editor in the next months, I think. It is a very standard layout. So it's on the left side you've got a browser, basically some kind of an asset browser. If I clear this filter here, you'll see we've got characters, skeletons, animations, and some extra stuff. On the right side we've got extra panels like property panels, which will give you information about what you select. So for example, if I select a skeleton here, CHR, you'll see the skeleton parameters. And we're thinking about extending this to really become a skeleton editor or a skeleton parameter editor in the near future. The skeleton is the least developed part of it at this moment. I'm going to go right ahead and open a character. So this is just a standard filter. You can enter multiple words in here and it will do a filter on that. This is a nanosuit. I'm sorry for the lighting. They're rewriting the render engine at this moment, and
but you can
maybe
you can boost the ambient lighting on display. I think it will solve this. On the right side, in the display tab on the bottom. In general, I think you can boost the brightness. The first parameter.
Yeah.
You can type something like type 200 there.
Oh. Yeah, okay. It's better. So we see here a character, CDF, and here are the properties of the CDF, as you expect. So in this case these are root components, and then below that all the attachments, which you can then edit it. We're not going to go into this part, because that was not really the point. We're going to go all out on animation. So I'm going to open an animation.
This is reading or is writing about? Can you create something out of it?
You can actually create, you can edit the CDFs here.
Yeah.
And maybe you can tell a little bit more. But
can you create CDFs?
So at the moment you can't create new CDFs, but you can change all parameters in existing.
Okay. But the plan is to create CDFs?
Yes.
Because it takes over. We will remove character editor, which right now is the CDF editor. I mean, you can create CDFs in character.
I don't know what to open. Stand, rifle, flinch. Let's start with something simple. Very simple. So, what do we see here? When I select an animation, just like in character editor, it will start playing that animation, but you now have some display of which animation is playing, and you can turn it on and off here in the animation display. We've got a more advanced timeline now with the usual pause, play, loop, settings, speeds, and we can also start showing frames, which you guys really like, I think, and start snapping to them and so on and so on. We'll step through them. We've got the display properties we already touched a bit upon. There's all kinds of different things here. The old stuff which we had. I need something with movement. I'll show that later. The skeleton stuff, to show join names, and all these things. But they're now easily accessible in this debug display here. Sorry?
Can filter joints?
What do you mean by filter?
I just want to see the joints that starts with the name or whatever.
I think
you want to see the entire
there's a C bar.
Yeah, there's a C bar. I don't know.
There's nothing in UI for this.
Nothing in UI. Yeah. There is a follow joint though.
Actually,
you can actually look at the list here.
Okay.
Actually, is there a mapping? Do the old C-bars do the old C-bars work here?
Yes.
Okay.
I could do.
So the filter will
Want to do
work.
it? Or is it CA filter joints? Did I fuck it? Yeah. Okay.
So CA draw skeleton, we'll turn on that new skeleton drawing.
Yeah, but for skeleton you have checkbooks. And
Yeah, let's not combine the two together.
No, I'm just asking.
I could try, but
should work.
Should work.
So filter joints will work.
Alright.
down or something.
Pip will be the whole scale.
Pip would not be a good idea. And I show
Try it.
John names.
No, I think that's real
Show
skeleton.
skeleton.
Yeah.
Cool.
0 to turn it off. Okay.
It's easier when you have multiple screens.
Del.
0.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll continue with these animation layers because there's a lot more you can do now here. We can start adding new layers on top and start previewing what that does. So we can have an additive animation. We have additives here. Makes sense. Look around here.
I think look around. Yeah.
So we have a look around. Again, we can see with and without, and start playing with that. We can put many more layers on top if you would like to.
You can control and mouse. You can use mouse wheel with the control. In the scene parameters, it will be larger. As you can see it.
Ah, look at that. Cool. Nice. Now you can actually see it. I don't know how big I need to make this for you guys.
That's fine.
It's fine.
I think you can also switch layers, right? With the mouse.
Yeah, you just
You
click
can
another one.
drag it down, you can change the order.
You can totally break it now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, it's also
Great.
It's doing something, you know, you could
I think it's gonna try it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much what you expect. Is the thing. I think things like delete and stuff. Yeah. Work. What else did I need to say here? Zoom with mouse wheel. We have that.
But this is just a preview additive animation. You would do that in Mannequin, I guess.
Depends. This is the lower level system, so if you just imported your animation and you want to see how it works, you can just look at it here, even without going into Mannequin.
When it comes to like the pipeline, this is mostly for like importing, setting up your importing animations, setting up your character attachments, and previewing all of your assets. For all the stuff that's more like tied to the game, that's going to be at a later stage.
Yeah. So this is also the same low-level tool that shows all the animations that will be used in track view, for example. So it's the same kind of animation set of animations you have here.
And potentially could be physics, related to physics.
And you would check IK stuff here as well,
Physics,
right?
IKs,
Yeah.
contact points, and all these
What the
physics
guys
parameters.
It could all be
Because
displayed in here
And
as a
yesterday I
resource.
told you what kind of. Okay.
And would they still check blend spaces in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I do it now?
Sure.
It's not according to the plan.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, I don't know what, you gotta follow the plan.
Definitely.
I could do it, but that we don't forget too much. So the skeleton we saw already. Annual events are here too. They are pretty much where you expect it to be in a sense, because you just click here and you add an event.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's like a,
Great.
yes. And I think the same kind of control is also the control that will form the basis for track
Yes.
view in a.
Yes, like Axel took this as a base for track view, and as soon as he will stabilize his code, I will back integrate it, so we reuse the same track view basically. More events here and.
Nice.
Those events, is it like marketing stuff Mannequin, basically?
It is like that, but this is really on the low level. So this will also work if you play it from track view, for example, or from any.
So this is more where you
This is-
put like sound or particle effects which are tied to a specific animation.
Or when you know, okay, at this point you touch the ground with the left foot, which could
Yes.
be important for blend spaces.
This is what we used in C1, C2, and in C3 also a lot. In Rise we started to use Mannequin more and more for these higher level things. But here, back in the old days, we used these events, and they can still be used.
Can you alter the animation, like stretching it or?
No,
No.
no. I would expect that you could, but no.
Yeah, but yeah.
This is where it would fit.
Is that okay?
At least if you really alter an animation or change an animation. Later on we'll see in Mannequin we can start referring to this animation and still stretch it and cut it up and that kind of stuff. Come to that. Did I do everything here? Oh, yeah. Some stuff here. So we had the aim events. I'm not gonna go into those details because you guys don't use many of them. The follow joint. This is your usual if you have an animation with a camera or anything that moves. Something moving. Jump forward. That is closed. I'll show you what this means. This is the good old animation-driven motion thing. This is on the spot. Following along. In place movement. It looks the same.
The difference is
But
when you hit it, it actually stays at 0, 0, 0 position.
Yeah. If you do this, now it's in the world, it's really moving. If you do this, the grid moves. And why would you need that? Well, if you have this, then you can have world physics. Right.
Can you still drive this one around though? With the
No, not yet.
but that's the idea.
Yes, I mean you can drive it around by playing blend space, for example, and changing parameters.
But not with the key zoom mouse.
No.
If you want to follow the camera, this would do it if I align orientation. And then we got our camera. I believe if we do this, then we can look around. I don't know why you would do that.
If you move, it should stay relative to this.
Yeah, so the whole thing.
I think you should remove position checkbox.
Ah,
You can move around.
so it really just it aligns, and then from there on, you can move around. How do I clear it? Delete? Or
Cancel,
so
and right click on it and
clear. Yeah. There's a lot more stuff here. There's this filtering, which is useful for if you have a lot of attachments in the CDF. In the CDF, oh, it's also here, right? Click on it, go there. I think I can do filter here. I never did it, so I shouldn't do this, but it's very scary. So in the grid components, everything with aim, it shows everything with aim. I believe this works in any of these lists. If we can go wild.
Those cubes, what do they represent in the view?
These cubes. Yep.
I know the cubes and the
Oh, yeah, the
character.
viewport.
Blue cubes.
So those are the.
If I click on them, you see.
No, what are they? Those are not joints, right?
No.
So, what is it?
So these ones are parts of these component setups that are enabled. I don't know exactly how to do the setup.
I believe that those are the attachment interfaces, right?
So part of them, these are attachments,
Yep.
Mm.
and part of them they come from rig components. But it will be less messy in the future because rig components are going to be in a separate asset, so you will never see them together. For now, it's just
So these are attachments.
temporary
Yeah.
situation.
So here I got the flag attachment position. Here, that's this thing where we attach the flag in Crisis.
Can you create them here, like sockets for joints, or so you don't need to do everything in wire?
Yes.
Yeah. So here, I'm not gonna do this because I didn't prepare this demo effect. Don't jinx it. But yes, this is also how much of these components have been set up. So. Let's take over now.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a bit about the animation layering. So Sven's already shown briefly right there that you can edit your different animation layers. So I just want to show a bit more how this is working and what you can do with that. So typical example would be you have a full body animation and then you add some style or variations through some additional additives, overrides, or some procedural things like look IK or aim poses. You can preview all of that still in that place. So what I'm going to do is just say, right, I play a full body animation, so which one am I looking for?
Rifle rotated stand idle.
Yeah.
It's just
some more in there. So you can see that in the search box now when I put a white space, it's actually going to process that at different words. So rifle instead idle, and I'm just going to put on top of this one, I'm going to add a new layer in here and put an additive. She's rifle combat stand pose, and so you see that there I have now my animation stack with like my full body layer and my additive, which I can like enable, disable, or blend anything in between. I'm gonna switch now to another character because we don't have proper aim poses for that one, but just for the sake of going a step further, I'm gonna open a character for Homefront. So just looking for KPA and take one of those. I'm gonna clear the animation layers we have here.
Yeah, it's trying to play those animation now on this character.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tone down the lighting because maybe the 2000 factor.
Too much.
Do you know what the default was? Yeah, 10. So again on that one, I'm just gonna play like I don't know if I took anything specific. Yeah.
No. Imposes scar alerted stand.
Oh yeah, I forgot to take. So I'm just gonna take like a random rifle animation.
There's the idle. Go back a bit.
Right.
Up.
Oh.
Stop. Oh, that's relaxed attack idle rifle.
I think that there are some idols in there.
Stand attack idle rifle finds.
Yeah. So stand attack.
Rifle? Yeah, at the bottom.
Yeah, well, there it is. So just again taking full body animation, and I'm gonna add a new layer, and this time around I'm gonna put an aim pose in there. So and I think this is M4. Yeah. So going with that one, and when I enable it, you see that the character is still playing like his full body animation with on top the aim pose. With the aim pose now we got some more previewing options. So right now by default you see that it's tracking the camera, but there's a new mode where you can actually say, alright, I want you to aim at a specific target, and you can see this point right there, which I can now select and move around, and this way you can test like your aim pose
That's awesome.
in different ways, and you can see alright how that's going to behave in different situations.
Can you also display which imposes are triggered at that moment?
You mean which assets specifically within that aim pose?
Yeah, like how they blended or.
Yeah. So we have some CVARs for that. So so
There are two starting with draw aim, those one.
yeah. So yeah, we'll send the exact CVARs. So you can see right there that this is basically the blend grid that's built from the assets, and you see that when I move this one around, you see this dot right there, which is also moving. Oops. Along that grid.
You can select with a box.
Yeah.
Like
Oh really? Okay. So you can see as I move that the sampling point on that grid is also moving this way. You know exactly what you are blending, and so if I go really extreme, it might actually get out of the blue thing. So you see if I keep going this way, at which point we start extrapolating out of those assets. But I mean the specifics about the input, that's slightly outside this discussion. It's just like this is a convenient tool now to preview them in different circumstances.
if you really want to know how the assets are blended, there are other CVARs that you can enable.
Yeah, but I mean that's like a whole DXC topic.
Where's the
Complexity.
text of which, is that the red text at the top?
No, so the text at the top is just, I don't even know what this one is doing. This one is just giving you like the polar coordinates for where your dot is. If you wanted to see the exact assets,
Yeah.
that's going to be very verbose.
Okay.
Actually, no, it's not even the same there.
No, it's there.
No, it's only showing them as Blender aim. I don't think the Blender aim is actually showing you the specific details about what it's blending. But you can actually figure it out from those. So you see that we have like 15 points in that one, and you know that this is what is we're used for blending. So based on what this dot is, you can know exactly which poses it's using. Yeah. So yeah, let's get back to the nanosuit guy. Yeah, this one, and I'm gonna remove the seals we don't need. Whoops, not this one.
Copy.
Yeah, and there it is. So I'm gonna remove layers we don't need. Oops. And now I'm gonna talk a bit about the import process and how to get new animations in there. And before I do that, I would just want to make like a quick recap of the different file formats in the pipeline and what each one is supposed to be doing. So when you export your animation from Maya, what you're gonna get is an ICAF file, and this file is basically gonna contain your uncompressed animation. What the next stage in the pipeline is gonna be to transform that into a compiled asset that can be read by the runtime. And to do that, we have some initial metadata, which we're storing in another file, which we call anim settings. So your pipeline is going to be, you get your ICAF export from a DCC, and you compile that again alongside some metadata to generate your CAF. Then during the build process, we're going to put the CAFs in a pack file that everybody's going to get next day. Those CAFs can also be compressed together in a DBA, like for streaming purposes or things like that. We don't really have to worry about all that at this point. The only thing that really matters is that when you compress something and when you check in something right now, not everybody would get it straight away. You have to wait for the next build to like put everything in there. Or you have, you know, if you're working with a designer, just sending the ICAF or ask him to get the ICAF and to compile it locally. And that's gonna do the trick. Now to show the actual process of doing that, something important to know is that you don't really, most people, when they work, they don't need to work with the latest ICAFs and they don't need to compile them locally. And as an optimization in the engine, what we're doing is that we're not even scanning locally for CAF files. We're only getting stuff that has been baked during the build process. But obviously for animators, when you want to work with new assets, you need to scan everything that you have. So you can actually see on screen that we have a warning in there in yellow. That's telling us that the CA user engine CAF CBAR is not set to 0, meaning that we are not going to look for those additional animations. So with that setup, when I get this yellow warning, I basically cannot put new animations. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to edit my editor.cfg file, make sure that the CBAR is set up, and then
just to intervene, I recommend that you don't edit the editor CFG file, because I think that comes along with the build, so you will have to do this again and again, or figure something out that it doesn't override it. I recommend you just make a user CFG file, a text file containing that one line.
Would it be possible in the future to just have it be off by default? I mean, if every artist had to set a CBAR to see his textures when he made them,
it adds about 10 seconds to the load time, so it's a bit of a trade-off there.
Might create a button,
but
so
it could be
I guess we could possibly have like different things in build suite. Maybe if you get an animated build, maybe
context, like if you have character editor open, it just turns it on or something. You know,
Or it could be just a configuration setting, you know, like a checkbox for the stupid artist, right? Just like use for local animations.
Yeah, I mean there are different things that could be done to improve that.
Ideally, I'd like to be able to even add animations even though you have the setting wrongly set.
In theory, the system should be able to
Theory is
detect
possible.
it. And we will explain right now, you know, how the current pipeline is, and then, you know, we can see based on the feedback where to go from there.
Yeah, we could have a button there. Fix it for me. Restart the editor.
So you're looking at level in the background, takes a while because home from assets, we don't need them. Alright, so we're back. So let's get our guy. And so let's remove that filter. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna add a new animation in there to show you the different steps of the pipeline. So if you look at the animation folder for this guy, you see it's objects, characters, narrow street animation. And so what I've done is I've just opened an Explorer in there. And on my desktop, I have two iCaps. So I'm just gonna like put one of them in a folder, which is like what you would see, I mean, that basically mimicking the export process. So you can see now in the tree view that there's a new entry, which is my check weapon, and it's being grayed out because it hasn't been imported yet by the system. When I click on it, you see there was like a compressing text in there for a short while. It was compressing the animation for the first time. The animation is not imported in the game yet. It's just at this point a preview. So what I'm gonna do next is just right click on it, import. Then we have a small bug which is that we need to deselect and reselect the same animation. It doesn't refresh. So yeah, just something to be aware of. But so yeah, now my animation is in game, and you can see right there in the last column, this icon means I have the animation on disk, and then I'm not getting it from the pack. When you get the cube right there means the pack, and this one is on disk.
Was the animation settings file created now, or?
The animation setting file has been created. So if you look there it is. So I'm gonna go.
Before you, I want to point out that by default you won't see that column with the pack, whether it's in the pack or local.
Oh yeah.
You right click on the header there.
Yeah, when you right click you can add or remove some columns, and pack is not enabled by default, so you won't see this one unless you enable that. So next I'm gonna say that I want to tweak a bit the compression settings for this animation. So typically compression settings, they're defined not on a case-by-case basis, but we define some rules to say like we want all the locomotion assets to be compressed in a way and all the cinematics assets to be in a different way. This kind of stuff. Sometimes though you might want to have like for specific animations some finer control over that. So we explored in there different things, different compression settings. So epsilons, which are going to be used to remove controllers, and a more general compression value. I'm not aware about the exact detail, but that's basically the bigger, basically the more loss you're going to get, the more compression. We have a very convenient view if you want to see what compression does. If you go into view and compression side by side, you're going to see your animation twice. On the left side is the uncompressed asset, which is coming. This is basically your iCaf, what's coming out as a DCC, and on the right side is the compressed version. So you can see right there that you can see the size and how it shrunk thanks to compression. So you see that like the final size with those compression settings is only 15% of the original size. If I put the compression value to like something very high, so it's compiling again, and you see now the final size is on like 6%, but also the animation is a bit washed out. You're losing obviously some definition in there. And if I just put 0, you see that the size here is still only 50% from the original size, but this is effectively very close to lossless. We're only removing things which are very, very close to being linear. Alongside the compression settings, you can also see an option to say that this is an additive animation. So I'm going to do that next. So let's go back to the normal view. Oh, and whenever you save your settings in there, so if I go like put 100, oops. If I put 100 there, so saving that is effectively gonna just change your anim settings file. So when you check it out, yeah. Actually, let's just drag and drop that into Notepad.
Should never see this, but
yeah. So you see now the compression value has been updated in there in your anim settings file. So what I'm gonna do now is the same thing, but with an additive asset. So just taking this one, and same thing you see in the new asset. So I'm just gonna right click, import it, and I'm gonna flag it as an additive. So right now it's working in the background, right? So I've tagged it as an additive animation now, and what I can do is therefore use it on top of another one. So you see I've put underscore add in the name, but it's more like a naming convention. The process doesn't really care at this point. What matters is really that at this point you can tag it as additive or normal override animation. That's where this is gonna change the definition of the anim setting. And again, if I set this one, opening its anim setting file, it's something you shouldn't have to ever open this one, but I just wanted to show. So you see the first animation I did, additive was false, but this one isn't even additive.
There is a convenient filter also if you're adding a new animation to find the new animations. If you open the filter to the right of the browser, right?
Oh, this one?
That little filter, right?
Yeah.
There's an only new checkbox which will show only new.
I'm going to remove one back.
Well, you don't have any new animations anymore because you imported them.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah.
That's correct.
So getting back. Yeah, so the two animations. So I mentioned earlier that when you have your iCaf and you're saying that's going to compile a CAF, that's going to end up in the build. When you're working on your animation, your CAF is going to be stored locally on your disk in like a cache, so that you can still work with that animation, before getting the next build. You can actually see in the editor all the animations you have locally, and clean them if you have to get rid of a file or something like that. You can view all of them by going to this menu. So you see right there all the CAFs that you have locally. Two of them, those two, are like used internally by the editor, and they're gonna be always.
He's taking notes.
Oops. So those are like secret editor CAFs. You shouldn't worry about them, but then you can see all your other CAFs. So in that case, I've imported 2 new animations, and as a result, I can see 2 new CAFs.
What is this, Evgeny? What is that load list button there? Inviting the.
Oh, well, it actually was made, I think, for physics editor in Rise. It was basically for the saving of
This batch change ASCII files. You could batch update your
This was also a patch tool.
I guess it was just the UI.
Yeah, so basically the idea that if you have a very big list of files, you could load a list of files from a text file and do select on those files.
Okay.
If you have if you have a bunch of animations to import, can you import them in batch by selecting them all?
Yes, you can just select them in this tree.
So if you do multi-select.
Yeah, and the context menu will appear, or you can use this button on the properties.
Okay.
Can I just ask you as well, just with the compression? I know, like on Rise, we had the issue, and I think Evgeny was talking to Harry this morning about the zero compression thing, because zero compression still had compression. Is that something that is going to be fixed overall? So zero means zero, or is it something that we could maybe have a different, like a pre-rendered option where when that's ticked, we see zero compression?
I would like to fix this in general for all animations.
Okay.
So it's just at the moment there's some hard-coded parameters for like the code controller, and I would like to get rid of this simple stuff in Rise.
When a user imports an animation, is it adding that to the animation list, and does it try to figure out what skeleton is currently loaded, and then it makes CR chart parameters?
There is some magic.
So you can
the C job
So you can see right there when you select animation in the properties, you have skeleton alias, and so we have like a transition table which is like basically telling you which CHR this refers to.
So you use the skeleton list.
You can actually look at the skeleton list here
Yeah.
in the character tool itself.
Yeah.
So does that mean as an animator you need to know what skeleton uses?
It deduces the skeleton from the character you have.
Awesome.
Cool.
So you can see right there the alias is I can't remember which one that was, but you can see what it points to.
Okay. Yeah. And there's also the compression presets.
Yeah.
Are also here. Here you can define rules for compression settings. You can say all animations ending on cinematic needs to be compressed with different settings than all the other ones.
if your CHR params just says like load animations in this folder, and you put animation in the folder, will it automatically be imported, or do you have to do an import step by hand?
You have to do an import step. Yeah.
But then it won't, by name, put the animation in the CHR param since the folder, the folder already is defined.
So it doesn't change the CHR params in any way. So you should have CHR params set up before, and if you add animation,
So if you had an animation that's not in a path in that CHR params, then what happens?
it will work.
It won't work. Okay. Kind of the nice idea of having a person be able to just load an animation. You'll have to figure that out then.
Well, I think the logical way to do this in current system would be to give a user possibility to change the CHR params and to select folder with animations there.
Right now, when you go file open animation, does it only show you possibilities from the CHR params file, or it lets you point to any folder?
If you right now, basically the saving of CHR params doesn't work here, so it shows the parameters, but you can't change it.
Okay.
This would be next big thing is creation of CDF and CHR params.
Any
Full details.
Can it work in batch mode somehow? You can batch CH params and for multiple animations. I mean, how batch friendly is it, and how single target friendly is it?
Well, the basic operations you can do on multiple files selected, like importing or saving files, but there's not much batch operations there. So if you need something, it's just simply look.
And yeah, that basically covers it then for the import compression stages. Next.
How do you know if an animation has been imported or not? Is it just you just check whether it has anim settings?
I get from animation system. I get the animation set that was basically included by the engine, and all animations that are already there, I consider to be imported. Everything that's not in the list, I consider to be new animation.
So if you import an animation, close edit or reopen it, it'll think it's new again, or?
No. It will. The animation occurs new only for those animations that are not loaded by the engine. So that's basically animations that weren't yet compiled into COP files. And
I see.
so everything that you imported before, it will be not considered as new when you open the engine next time.
Right. I'll give you a very quick overview of what blend space support is there right now. So I'll just open up a blend space, start playing it. We have one blend space where it just does a step rotate.
Oh, this one's actually.
Do I do
yeah,
an
this one's
actual?
a calf. Oh, the step is actually right above. Yeah.
Now I lost it. This one. Okay.
Yeah.
This makes more sense. So I start a blend space. It doesn't move. It doesn't move because my turn angle, which is right under the blend space, is 0. Now I can start playing with that as you expect. And it takes the limits from the blend space file, so it knows exactly what the range is, range of motion. There's also a limited preview functionality. It's still rather prototype, because this should actually become a proper editor. But it's better than entering CVARs. There's an actual panel here that you can enable. And here you can see. I'm going to reorganize everything, but
You can drag it out.
good. This button.
Just can. Yeah.
So this is a very simple one-dimensional blend space with a couple of assets, which are the white dots. Yeah. The red dot is what I'm currently playing. Oh, I completely broke it. Shouldn't have done that. Okay. Parameters. So if I change the parameter, you'll see the red dot move. Now I'm all the way at the end, at example number 2. You see the red dot. And if I go to the other side, you see the red dot move to number 0. You see there are also a couple of assets here at the end. whoever set this up added some what we call pseudo examples. These are not real assets. These are extrapolated versions of existing assets in the same blend space. So in theory, we could increase the range a little bit and overshoot a little bit and do more than 180 rotations, for example. Sometimes this is useful if your animation is actually only 175 degrees, but the game programmer insists that you need 180. Then you can just hack it if you have to ship in 1 week or so. Then you could do that.